Hello there, folks, and welcome to the stream. My name is Mike D'Angelo, aka that Tellest guy, and it's been a little while. We took off a couple of days last week because my day job got unexpectedly busy. It's not strictly speaking official yet, but I accepted a new job at the old day job, and because of that, it's just been a little bit of stress these past couple of days as I'm acclimating to one job and trying to make sure that everything at the previous job is lined up right and taken care of the right way. But we've got a Kickstarter that's closing up shop, so we want to try and make sure that we are doing things the right way, and I don't want to leave these things for later. I'm trying to get most of these kind of like bonus maps done ahead of the campaign wrapping up, so that is what we are working on right now. This is a two-part map. You can see if we zoom it out, it's a pretty big one. This is a map that we're calling Dragonhenge, as you can see from the cute little dragon that we have in the center here. So we are going to keep on doing a little bit of work on this before we start throwing down some extra stamps and stuff like that, and trying to clean it up and make it pop a little bit more than we have right now. We wanted this area to be, sort of on the barren side, but I don't want it to be just completely bare. So we are going to clean some of that up a little bit. So what we have is a lot of kind of blending. We've got some grass, we've got some like gray stone, some of these, more reddish rocks, things like that. So let me see what else we can do. We've got, let's go into some plants real quick and we'll see what we can do here. Let's do like a forest floor plant. Something like this. And I'm going to try and make it so that these guys have a nice look to them, but I don't want them to be so lush. So what we're going to do is maybe dial back the saturation halfway. Oh, it would help if I had that stuff. Yeah, I feel like it kind of does the trick, right? The stamp scale might be a little smaller than we need. No, you know what? It's okay. So we are on two maps, so 30 should be a good size. So let's try and figure out some strategic places for these to be. So we're gonna throw them kind of like there and there. You'll see that like before they're placed down, they look a little bit greener. We're missing a little bit here because of the red sky filter that we have, so we're going to be cleaning that up. I might switch that out for like a boulder or something like that that's laying on top, just because I do want to hide. There's like a little bit there that I need to kind of clean up, but let's keep on doing a little bit of work here. We'll throw together some pebbles and rocks and stuff like that, but I definitely want to try and put out a decent amount of these because it'll help to make things look a little bit more vegetative. We don't want it to look like it's just completely barren. And then we also have to think about, like other points of interest and stuff too. The map that this has inspiration from has, like skeletons and, like crossings over big rocks and everything. We have a lot of elevations, so there's not like a lot of needs to go on top of like rocks and stuff like that, but we'll see what we can come up with. Something right there. Let's throw anything in the circle. Let's do a couple things here in the circle. More of these guys. I don't think that I can throw that any lower than the stone. Oop, it would help if I was doing the layer and not. Oh yeah, I can. Alright, good. So I'll tell you what, we'll keep doing that here and there and help things pop a little bit. things to be even lower. And one more up here. Figure, yes, we're not getting any sunlight there now, but at certain points during the day there is going to be some light that's coming through. Alrighty, let's try and see what else we can build out here. We've got... some ferns that we can throw down. I think we're going to keep with the notion that these are going to be a little bit desaturated. Ferns, I feel like they're able to kind of soak up water a little bit better, but we'll play with it, see if we like it. Let's try slightly bigger. We want to make it look like these are thriving a little bit more. So we'll put these in just a couple of places. Above the layer. See what's happening is it's underneath the clipping mask. Sorry. Text message came through from one of my fiber buyers and I didn't want to ignore them. There in the center, that looks kind of nice. Let's do a little bit of overlap here and there. Let's see what things look like with the grid on again. I feel like we're missing a little bit down here, so let's do a little bit of overlap down here too. Well, not necessarily overlap, but just a little bit of lushness. Okay, I'm missing a lot up here. And we're probably going to throw a tree or two up in one of these areas too. Let's see what we got. Let's just stick with a tree for now, and we'll go to something like 100. Let's see. Trying to think things out real quick. I kind of want that to look a little bit more lush. Let's play around with a couple of things real quick. Got more of like a green tree there. I think we don't really need to worry too much about that, right? That's just that one particular tree is a little bit. If I get more of those, I can clean them up later. Let's grab something like this. Let's make sure that we have some of the stuff that's kind of going off screen. Nothing down here, but let's do something over there. Just have a little tree there. And what can we do as far as that? It's one of those darker trees, so let's see if we can't make it look a little bit lusher. And we'll play with the scale a little bit so that and you figure you have it something like that, you have kind of a fun way for, like, if something goes wrong, the players can kind of jump down, hit this tree. You know, there's some strategy involved to some of these placements and things like that. Not a rock. I want another tree. Let's do, this one's a little crazy because of the hue change, but let's grab, is that already there? That was already there. Oh, that's okay. But let's do another randomization so that clears out, and I don't want to do one inside the circle, so let's do one more tree. There. Alright, let's see if we can't do some rocks and stuff. So we're going to do small rock. Way too big. I kind of want these to be, not 30, 50. I kind of want these to be slightly bigger than the ones that I usually make. So let me think about how I'm going to build some of this out. Throw some of them in there like that. That doesn't quite feel as big as I was hoping. Go crazier about that. So I might end up putting some of these on top, but I'm specifically for now looking at places that we can kind of throw them underneath. Because that ought to make things look a little bit more natural. You know, rocks tend to fall off of cliffs and stuff like this, so throwing these things around like this ought to help look nice. Oop. I thought that was going to mess with this one. Throw two over here too. Definitely a couple over here. Definitely throw them down here as well. Just a lot of what I call flocking, based on like the stuff when you're playing with miniatures, and you're putting some material on like the base of your miniatures. Alright, so we're going to dial this back to 30, which is our little happy number, and we're going to kind of fill in some of the space a little bit more. We're going to get a couple of really tiny rocks in here. We can throw them in some of this space that we didn't put anything. And this just makes it look a little richer, a little bit more dynamic. And then after this, we're going to use the same size on top of the cliffs. And eventually what we'll do is throw together some boulders as well. Looks so clean. I'm going to have to mess with that a little bit if I remember. Let's start working on top of our cliff. I think we're going to have to layer up. Otherwise, the clipping masks will get us. It's hot in my room right now. It's I'm usually pretty good in October, but I don't have the air conditioner on, and we hit like 75 degrees or something like that today. The cool thing is we can put it like on the cliffs leading down and stuff like that, so it doesn't have to be just all the way on top. We can do stuff like that. But this is going to look remarkably better than how we started. Oop, 232 is a lot of changes. Super Foxer says, hello there, how you doing? I am doing pretty good. We are trying to distract ourselves from a lot of fun stuff. So, diving into a cool map like this always helps. How are you doing? Doing great. Can't wait for my next Pathfinder session this Friday because it will be crazy. That's awesome. What's your session like? Do a couple more of these little guys here and there. Pop a little bit. Even prepared a small song for what'll happen this session. Made a jingle using FL Studio. God love Fruity Loops, and then extended it using Suno AI. I once tried to use Fruity Loops, and I don't think the computer that I had at the time was capable of doing anything with it. So I just got a gaming computer a couple of weeks ago. Maybe I'll try and dive into that a little bit more. We have a guy in our sessions who plays around with Fruity Loops too, and he might be a good person to ask about that kind of stuff too. Let's do maybe a little bit of this here and there inside the henge as well. And anywhere we've got kind of like a significant amount of gray rock. Super Foxer says, I'm excited basically because my character will be the boss of next session as she'll fight against the whole party by herself to prevent them from fighting the big, bad, evil guy while he destroys the city, as she knows that they're not ready to face him yet. I like that. I was reading something on Reddit a couple of weeks ago where it was like an NPC, not a player character, but they were kind of like devastated because they knew that they were going to have to fight the heroes, and for one reason or another, it was, you know, there was some sadness to it. Either she knew she was going to be trounced, or she knew that if she wasn't able to stop them, they were going to end up hurting themselves. So, Super Foxer says, she's the only spellcaster of the group, and it's healer at the same time, as she's a druid, and I've been saving a full resistance potion for this one battle to make the party sweat trying to take her down on her knees, as she's also the one with the most LP on the party, 153 and an AC of 29. It's going to be a tough battle against them. Do you expect to win, or do you expect to have it pretty evenly matched? Put that setting that my DM will use to introduce the boss fight. Yeah, you can absolutely do that if you want. I don't have any problem with that. And then if I remember, I'll throw something together when this goes on YouTube so that people can see it when they harken back to this moment. All right, let's take a minute to appreciate or not this map. I actually think it came together pretty nice. There's still a decent amount of work that we need to do with it because we need to figure out what point of interest we're going to be putting through to it. But yeah, let's take a moment and we'll try and check out some of Super Foxer's Rally Boss theme. See if the sound actually comes through for me. Sorry if I blew out anyone's eardrums. It doesn't even look like it's coming through on the audio for whatever reason, but there we go. I started it over. You said there's the text, by the way. You're talking about the link to Google Drive, or so I was listening to it, and I was just jumping around a little bit just because I didn't want to be stuck into it too much. It reminds me, for the past couple of months I've been playing a couple of like the retro games. I can't remember the game studio, but they did Oniken, and there was another one that was a little bit more fantasy themed. It might have been Odalis. So it's like nostalgia themed, like action adventure fantasy games. Well, Oniken really isn't, but if it was Odalis, if that was the name of the game, it had like that retro kind of fantasy sound to it, and it also kind of reminded me of a little bit more of a slow themed Final Fantasy Mystic Quest battle theme. So pretty good, very good job with that. That's outside of my wheelhouse for now, but you never know. All right, we're going to step out of this map. I am going to actually, I have to save. That's an important thing. We'll cut over to another one of our maps. I don't think that I don't know if I want to go back to my Minotaur's Maze map or if I want to take a look at one of the other ones. I feel like we're close to the end of the Minotaur's Maze map, so that might be the one to go to. Super Foxer says, alright, imagine you're arriving to the bridge, that's the path of the city, and then the powerhouse of the group walks in front of you to stand in front of the bridge, and then destroying it with an attack as she starts to turn around towards y'all as her life bar appears and this banger starts playing in the background and the DM asks for initiative. That's very cool. Did your DM know about the like that you were going to kind of lead up to something like that, or was it something that that you've kind of been working towards on the sly and you got a chance to bring it up to the DM, planned it with him? That's always cool. I like it when like players and DMs collaborate in that kind of method. We had something pretty cool that we were setting up for one of our campaigns with our friends. It fell through for a little bit, so we'll see if that ever comes back. But he was doing some cool stuff with one of our characters that was helping to kind of rescue him out of another one of our worlds. So we've played D&D across tons and tons of different campaigns and sessions like that. So it would have been nice to bring someone back from a campaign that we didn't get that opportunity to play in. But all right, we're going to try and find some points of interest for this. So let's go into the dungeon real quick, and you know what? This will be kind of fun if I can pull it off right. So I'm reminded of the game Gauntlet and how there are like monster summoners, and I think we've done something like this before, where in one of our maps that we were playing with, we've had something like this. We're going to turn this into like a monster portal real quick. So let's see if I can't find... There we go. And the shame of this is I can't really do too much with those red marks. If I can balance that look enough. Feel like that's good. Alright, so we got one of those stars replaced. Let's keep on going in and figuring out. Figuring? That's not a word. That's not how it's pronounced. Alright, let's keep going into our dungeon stuff and seeing if there's anything that kind of pops out as far as stuff that we can use. Let's see, we've got the kind of like garden stuff over here. So let's do some of these kind of torch plant things. And we want to make sure that they show up a little lower. Some ones that haven't bloomed in the center. Oop. Yeah, that's fine. We don't need them all in the center. Let's actually grab... Well, you know what? I'm going to leave that alone for now. I was going to say we'll grab some dirt from the dirt brush, but I kind of want these to look like they're persevering despite the ground that they're on. Let's do something like that, and let's go back to the dungeon set. Let's see, we got the one big chest in the center there. Maybe we can have another chest here and there. Let's do this one as a smaller one. What we'll do in a few minutes is go into a preview of the Kickstarter because we are nearing those final days. We're actually 10 days out from wrapping that up, so. Tis not what I wanted. I have an idea for this one. Okay, so we've got these nightshade plants. I want to try and mess with the hue a little bit and see if we can have it look a little bit different. sort of like when we did the flowering hydra. We'll make it that where this person died, there is some cool plant life that started to kind of spring to life. Could even be, you know, he was going to die and the plants are keeping him like suspended animation, something like that. Right, we've got the other Minotaur statue there. We've got 2 things there. A point of interest there. We're down to a couple, right? We've only got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Because we're trying to say that these ones are kind of looped together. Rihanna, do you have any ideas for points of interest? 1, 2, 3, 4. Actually, just 5 now. Anything you would want to see in something like this? Don't need anything like a grappling hook or anything like that. The treasures don't make a ton of sense. Yeah, we have this trap over here. Statues, a water basin. We can do something. We've got the water set up here, right? So this is kind of like in that quadrant. So maybe we can do your water basins thing over here. I think you're spelling it the way I say it by accident. I think it's like that. So let me try and real quick see if we can do something with the water basins real quick. Oop. Let's look at what we got. You know what? We might be able to do something with... Well, I did like the fire bloom plants and stuff like that, so I don't want to go too much into that. And I just did the nightshade stuff too. Let us try and see if we can't find... Do they not have that as a shape? Oh, here we go. So here's what I was thinking as far as the basins. And let's see if... Drop that back to like 10 or something like that. And it kind of will look like it's descending down into the ground a little bit. Some wall spikes as if to say, no, don't go this way. I like that. And this is kind of cool the way that it's framing this little sort of pit thing. Let's try and do one more, same style. Oop. Not quite doing the style I wanted. That kind of stuff right there. So I think what we'll do is grab the stone stuff that we have. Let's go to, I think it's the foreground. And then what we're going to do is grab the texture scale, and we're going to, in these little spots, shrink those down so it is not the foreground, it's the background. And then what we have to do is mess with this a little bit. compass, but it's wrong and also surrounded by human bones and likely a trap. Maybe I can do that with the spikes or something like that. Let's throw off the grid so that we can see that a little better. Looks good. Alright, we got 55 changes. Let's do a save. A piece of cheese. Alright, so if we're going to do Rihanna's spiky compass idea, do it here. Let's see if we can't find those spikes. Some wall spikes. It would have been nice if I could have a bunch of spikes. Make them a little bit bigger so that they're a little bit more visible. Because you're a rat in a maze. I got it. I knew what you were talking about. Alright, so let's grab these so that we can throw them down over here as well. Let's do one more over here. Actually, a trio of them. And let's see if we can't figure out this compass thing. First, let's get a pillar that we can use. Mighty big compass, but that's okay. Let's grab this one more time, and we're going to mess with the shadow, make it just a little bit less intense so that it doesn't look like it's so tall. Okay. Alright, we got 3 more points of interest. I'm going to save real quick. Hey, Rihanna, I'm thirsty. You know what I need. Hooray! Yay. Alright, so let's see. What other things did you say? A strategically placed trapdoor. I have another trap over here, and we've got the spikes over here. I just can't think of any place for the trapdoor for now. I'll take it under advisement. We've got a place to sit and have a lovely unwashed cry. see. A fire brazier. Let me see if there's any fire stuff. Careful now, I only have 27,000 coins. They'll go quick once we get up to 70 followers. I tells you what. This could be kind of cool. So what if we did this? We've got this fireplace over here, but we're not going to use it as a fireplace. We're going to use it as like a dimension door. We could do that. Alright, first let me grab this, and we're going to change the hue to... Yes, that's good. And then we're going to find another place for this to go. This is kind of like a dead end where we've been putting a lot of our stuff. So put it here too. Figure if we do have a Minotaur that's in this maze, you gotta have like Pac-Man rules, which means you need to have your players able to kind of switch about and move and stuff. Let's do the cracked ground here that Rihanna was mentioning. Just put it all over the place over here. It's just these last two, so that's fun. So we just have to figure out what to do down here. Pile of stones somewhere along the outer wall to make it seem like, hey, if I clear these, maybe I'm free. But no, you're trapped forever. Them's the bricks. Or stones, or whatever kind of... Alright, so we're going to kind of use that as our indication of where this cracked business starts. Nice cracks. Thanks. Where's our small stones? These guys right here. And let's do this in the earth section. So somewhere down here. Oh, you know what? There might even be like a rubble pile that I can use. Maybe a little too big. Back to the cracks real quick and dial this texture down a lot. use the top layer. And let's do the same thing. We'll take it up a bit. There we go. I think we're looking at it in SD. We're looking at it in low resolution. All right, so I think we just got a couple more things that we have to do, right? We have to throw something over here and something over here, and I just don't know what yet. A variant should definitely be dark mode. Yes, I agree. And I think I'm also going to have a version where like the brown rock around the maze is going to be obsidian instead. This maze would be really fun to play obscured until you make up your mind about a direction. It's very true. At some point I really have to look into like the virtual tabletop thing, like what they do with the Foundry. Is it the Foundry? Could be the Foundry. I don't know. Whatever that thing is called, where you get to do like lights and paths and stuff like that, but I don't know. Chest over on the crack, so there's incentive to go there. Let's see. Let's do an open chest. We've got the one down here that's closed. Let's do open one over here. Some funkiness that's going on because of the line work, and I don't know if that's going to still be there when we do the high def. Let's try. See, it's a shame. I want like a round mirror, and this guy is the only one that I have. Creepy booty funhouse vibes, maybe in the misty part. Mirrors! That's funny. We were both talking about the same thing, but we didn't realize it. I really hate the square mirror. Like, I want like a round one instead. Let's try and see if maybe there's some other thing that I can use that sort of looks like it. Actually, we got the paintings up here, I think. They're all square. Every now and then you get to kind of mess with things to make them look the way that you want them to. Maybe something in Elven or Fey will be able to do what we want. Gold-plated doors. Let's try something real quick. If we frame that mirror with something like this, I think that works. All right, so we're going to grab these pieces together. Now, what's at the end of this path, Rihanna? Do you have any idea? And there is a way to turn off this mist, but I don't know if that has anything to do with it. Oh, you know what? You know what would be kind of fun? Nah, never mind. I was going to say, let's do another one over here. Nah. There's no real way to know that there's a treasure chest here, and I'm trying to figure out if there's a way for me to do... What do they do? We just don't know. I'll tell you what. We'll Hansel and Gretel this stuff. Is that the cheese? In a way, yes, it is the cheese. Turn the brightness down there so it looks like it's kind of sunken in and stuff. Alright. We've got our cheese. We need one more thing, because I need to know what is at the end of this. Oop. What is at the end of this? Actually, you know what? We've got the fog being made here, right? These switches are what turns on the fan, which helps dissipate it. So what is it concentrating over here? Potions. Oh, I like that. This isn't going to do what I want it to, but we'll check it out. We'll see. It's like the anglerfish of dungeons. How's that, Rihanna? I am going to do potions. I'm doing the eyes first. Table with potions. Good job. Let's do a little elven table. Or a fey table or something like that. Has to be under the mist. Make it one layer lower so that we can put a bunch of potions there too. Remember, there's a delay on the chat and you talking, so that's why you fool. I know how you really feel. I know the sense of things after the soup dilemma. Alright, there's our potions. Should have eaten the soup. Let's take another look real quick. All right. I don't know if this is going to work. It's been a long time. We're going to try this out. Ooh, it worked. It even turned off on its own. That's good stuff. All right, we're going to save this. Let's head over to the Kickstarter so that we can show what we've been up to. That map is going to be one of the day one backer maps, but there will be other ways for people to get that later. So let's see what we got. So we are 8 days out. This is going to end on, I guess, the 13th. I thought it was going to get us to the 15th, but 8 days. We're getting there. We've got $30 before we hit our next stretch goal. So let's head over to our stretch goals real quick. You get this map as a bonus too. We are actually right around here. So we're about to get to Matt's bonus 5 maps. I have another 5 bonus maps after that. And then our big hurrah is going to be the first Tellest Foundry assets. We'll see if we can get there. Who knows? As I said, this is going to be going on for a couple more days, just over a week. We're at 73 battle maps now, but if we get to Matt's, we'll be at 78, and if we get to mine, we'll be at 83, plus whatever like sneaky bonus ones that we send in there. And that is not including the 163 variants that we will be at. Did I mute myself? Do you not hear me? Hello? It's reading that I'm coming through. Do you really not hear me? That's kind of strange. Oh, and I spelled here wrong. Let's turn off the Yeti and turn it back on, I guess. Oh, okay, never mind. She can hear me. Yeah. All right, we're going to... I kind of went over this real quick. We're going to go into the show closing page. So, folks, on the screen right now, you should see all the places that you can find Tellest out there on the internet. Tellest.com is a great first place to start because it'll bring you to all of our other projects. We have a couple of premium places for you to look for our map stuff as well as other things that we sell. Patreon.com/Tellest is getting a little bit of a kind of redo right now because we are going to move even further into the tabletop domain. We've got our very own like map assets that are coming soon, and we're going to start to allow people to commercialize some of the stuff that they use our stuff for. So like if you're using our maps or our stamps, as long as you adhere to our contract that you get through Patreon, you'll be able to use some of those things in your adventures commercially, things like that. We're not quite there yet, but we're rejiggering things so that you will be able to do that soon. Tellest.etsy.com is where you can find physical versions of our maps. That's going to be pretty cool. I think we have 83 of our maps up there now, and at this point we have 123 maps that are done, so we need to get into uploading some of those other ones day by day. Battlemapfantasy.com is where you'll go to get to our Drive-Thru RPG publisher page. Every time we have, like a set of like 10 maps on the Patreon, we end up putting them onto Drive-Thru RPG. Kickstarter is going to be your best bet for all these things, but Drive-Thru RPG is a nice second place. They're very affordable, especially when you have like the set of our maps. Like you can get the first volume of Tellest Battle Maps, which was like 60 battle maps for, I want to say it's like $30, so it's not too shabby. That's in addition to like 210 variants of the maps, things like that. We've got a couple of TikTok channels for you to check out. At Weird Witch Wands is where you can see Rihanna's one-of-a-kind handcrafted magic wands, and at Tales of Tellest is where you can see all of our pet stuff that we've been working on over the years at this point. Then there's two last places that we'll bring your attention to. youtube.com/@WorldOfTellest is where you can find all of our videos since time immemorial. But twitch.tv/ThatTellestGuy is the only place that you can go to catch us live. And we're honing in on that 70 follower mark, which is when we're going to start to make a comeback with Quantum Quest Live, and we'll have unlocked a new sort of mode for you to play with. That is going to wrap us up for tonight. I kind of went long because it's been so long since we've done anything, but it was nice to hit that map completed button, and I'm looking forward to doing something again tomorrow, so be sure to check us out then if you'd like. But until next time.